If you hadn't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back. We're about to jump into part 2 of obligations and expectations.
I guess the last one would be how much obligations do we have to our career, job, coworkers, and or companies that we work for?
That's heavy.
Yeah.
Let's see. I guess it depends in part if you are employed on a contract with a specific employer, and you are contracted to provide goods and services. And I say that in that way because in the military, as currently as a National Guard, as a part-time employer, my current contract is 6 years. So I'm obligated to that contract for whatever duties and task and whatever else that I am to perform within, legal rights and all this, that, and the other. Within there, they can sever my contract for whatever justified reasons. I can sever that contract with justified reasons. But at the end of the day, when it comes to those types of jobs, you're obligated to perform. You're obligated to provide those goods and services.
Right. I mean, at least with that type of contract, at least there's some type of balance, i.e., if things on your side, you see that the company's doing that's not benefiting you or that's detrimental to you, you can at least, go through the necessary process to terminate that contract.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like with having a employer with the space I'm in, nigga, I'm not obligated to your ass for shit. You dig? the thing about it is, at any point, for any reason, you can terminate my ass. You might wake up in the middle of the night and say, you know what? That brother right there, I don't like him. You could come up with all kind of ways to terminate me. And I've seen it done, to certain people throughout my working career where, just because one person doesn't like you, you become a target.
Mm-hmm.
And you're cut from, that employer.
Right.
But with the space that I'm in now, I don't feel an obligation to my employer. I feel an obligation to my customers or the customers of my company, because we're in a space where you got to be on point with the job that you do. So I try to make sure I provide the best service that I can, to our customers. But as far as my employer, I'm just a number to them at the end of the day. True, I've proven myself to be an asset to them. But even being an asset, there's still no obligation on their part to keep me. At any point they could come up and say, you know what, these numbers aren't looking right. We're going to have to let some people go.
Right.
And you being one of the top earners here, your ass need to go. So again, it goes back to there's no loyalty there. I can point fingers or get mad or whatever. That's still not going to change the fact that, at any time these people can say, hey, thank you for your service. Get your last check on the way out the door.
Yeah, and that's pretty much those at will jobs and stuff like that with no unions and stuff like that. They can be like, hey, don't want you no more, and to a degree they don't hold no obligation to you because, like you said, it's a numbers game. It's sad because I'll use the word dedication. If I'm dedicated to you, then you should be obligated to take care of me because you said, you feel obligated to the customer to do
Right.
X, Y, and Z, but on the other side of that, your company is obligated to the customer, which kind of obligates you to the company to hold up what they said. And then when you peel back the layers, it's like, well, at any day, you can say, I don't want you no more. And that kind of, kills that obligation factor.
Yeah, it does.
It throws it right out the window.
Yep. And it's like you can be what I've learned from my working career, and this is, a lot of years. The thing that I've learned as far as loyalty and obligation to any particular company, if it's not your own company, you're wasting your time by going all out. And I'll give you a prime example of this, right? I had this position where I worked for this train manufacturing company. Again, not naming any names, but I was a line supervisor. Now, in order for this line, let's say this line was like probably a good half a mile long, depending on how many trains we or cars we had on that day,
right,
to get out. But anyway, in order to make this line work sufficiently, I would come in a good half an hour or an hour early because my position was so vital to this line and how this line flow is that if I didn't do it, we're pretty much holding up the whole damn line.
Right.
I.e. holding up production. So I would come in, like I said, half an hour early, make sure things were set up for my crew. A lot of times I would stay over, clock out now, stay over, and make sure things were set up for the second crew or the night crew.
Wow.
Didn't have to do it now, but that's just, how I was raised and how I've developed as a worker. I want to make sure my team looks good, as well as, make sure the company looks good. Right. So, with that being said, I had a situation where I lived literally not even a good half a mile from my job. I mean, you could, certain pieces of property, you could probably look and see my apartment complex.
Wow.
But anyway, it was during one Christmas, and that particular Christmas, they implemented the rule of, if you come in late or if you don't show up, you're not getting paid for your holiday pay.
Right.
This was a rule, they implemented. Everybody knew this. Well, I had came in early that day. I want to say it was a good hour. I came in early to get things set up, but I accidentally forgot and left my damn steel-toe boots at home.
Wow.
So I go and tell the supervisor who's over our line, who's directly one of my bosses, hey man, I forgot I left my steel toes. I was trying to make sure we got this line, running right before everybody else got here.
Right.
So anyway, I tell him, I'm like, hey, I got to go back and get my steel toe. He's like, okay, go ahead. So I'm not even gone. I know a good 10 minutes, not even a good 10 minutes. Right back in position. Never missed, a heartbeat there.
Mm.
Do you not know when I got my damn paycheck, they docked me.
Get out of
I
here.
lost my damn holiday pay.
Wow, that's crazy.
And that right there, that lesson taught me there is no fucking loyalty when it comes down to a company. Motherfucker, you are just a number. I don't give a damn how much you bust your ass. I don't care how much you try to make sure this company succeeds, this line succeeds. Your bosses look good. At the end of the day, you are a number.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
so that right there was the lesson I learned, that I don't give a damn how hard you work, how much you go out of your way to make sure things are right with your employer.
Wow.
At the end of the day, you're just a number, homie. So
that's crazy.
yeah, that's one of the lessons I learned the hard way, but it is what it is.
Right. Wow. So what I want to do, I want to jump into expectations. That's a little up on our list. Wow, because I feel like the conversation about obligations kind of blends with expectations.
Yeah.
And it's like, the people around us, they have certain expectations, especially family, especially certain friends. And of course, our children, they have these expectations. And to juggle the word obligation and expectations together, what in your opinion, what is the best way to deal with expectations from from family, friends, and children?
Oh man. All right, I'm gonna break this one down. As far as kids, my son is still very young. I watch him though.
Right.
I think that my expectations for him right now are just to the point of, let me see how you shape yourself.
Right.
Let me fill in the blanks for you, but let me give you that space to see which way you want to go with your life. You know what I'm saying? How you develop as a person. His future expectations I have for him are, I'm the type of father, I believe, and again, this goes back to how my father raised me, is I think he was a little more hands off. My father, he was the type that, or is the type that, he'll let you run out there oh so far, and then when he see your ass going toward the edge, that's when he'll grab you and say, hey, come on back. Me, I think my style of parenting will be a little more, let me see what you're going to do, but I want to stick a little bit closer to you. I want to be able to guide him a little bit more and instruct him a little bit more, help him get past some of those hurdles that I had to face the hard way.
Right.
Because again, I was kind of a hard-headed ass child. I'll be real with you. I was the type of kid, nigga, let me see what I can do first.
Right.
Yeah, you saying that's gonna happen, but let me see what's going on. But as far as family, my expectations for my family, that's a good question. I think the only expectations I have are for my wife and my son. My father, he's at that age now where he's retired. He's just living his life. So I just let him do what he do. You know what I'm saying? He's single now, so he doesn't have any worries. He's just sitting back, collecting the check, playing with his man toys, as they say. But friends, I think I have more expectations for my friends than I do anyone else. Simply because I always keep it real with my friends, and they keep it real with me as far as I know.
Mm-hmm.
I have had some friends where I expected them. I thought we were on the same plane as far as like what we expected from each other,
Right.
which was just be straight up. You know, if you got a problem, let's talk about it. Uh, if you got issue with someone else, if you want to talk to me about it, let me help you talk it out, and you know we'll determine what's the best way to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have very high expectations, but I do expect for you to be honest with me and you know have my back just like I'm gonna have your back. You know what I'm saying? If a motherfucker talk uh, outside of your mouth, you know about you, nigga, you might as well be talking outside your mouth about me,
Yeah.
depending on what you say.
Right.
And I'm gonna correct you right then. Like, hey, if you feel this way about my friend, then you need to talk to him about that. But you're not gonna sit up here in my presence and talk about my boy like that
Mm-hmm.
or my homegirl. That shit is just not gonna happen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. I guess for me, my expectations of people, children, family, friends, it's like on a even plane, and it's like there's certain friends, family members that I have higher expectations than I do with others. Um, as far as my children, I used to have very, very high expectations for my oldest son because of how he kind of started out his adulthood, I will say. Um, you know, we haven't had the greatest of relationships, you know, in his younger days, but you know, as he got older and we started communicating a little more, it's like I didn't force expectations on him, but I would tell him things that I personally knew would be beneficial. And I truly expected him to follow through because I knew it would put him in a better position. Um, being that he did not fully engage in those things, my expectations started to go lower and lower and lower because at the end of the day, I can't spend that energy expecting you to operate at a certain level and you choose not to. So I'm just going to pull my expectations back because it's like, you know what? Hey, if you do it, you do it. If you don't, you don't.
Right.
My youngest son, I have very high expectations for him because he's operating at a high level. Um, he's in high school now, and you know he's a pretty much straight A student. Takes those AP classes or whatever you call them. Um, he's in a whole bunch of sports. He doesn't get in trouble. Um, you know, so for him, I have very, very high expectations because that's what he's presenting. And that's where that is with that. As far as friends, depends on who they are. Uh, because friends come, friends go. You can't always call a friend.
Damn sure can.
Um, so, you know, and I've learned for over a long time that, you know, if a friend has another friend, and like you was kind of saying, if you're gonna talk about me or talk about them, you might as well be talking about me. I've seen it, you know, and even in some of my, you know, mess ups, I've been a part of that kind of dynamic where, you know, yeah, I talk about you, blah, blah, blah. But at the, you know, at the end of the day, you know, when it comes to those type of expectations, it's like I expect people to be people. And I can't always expect you to operate how I would operate depending on whatever relationship that we have. If we have a certain type of relationship, then there are things I expect you to do or how I expect you to act or, you know, something like that. But outside that, those expectations, they're fluid. they're dynamic, and they, you know, they vary. And at the end of the day, I'm not gonna get butthurt because you don't meet my expectations. I'm just gonna take it as, you know what, we're not there at that point, so I'm not gonna have those type of expectations for you.
Right. So with that being said, are you a better friend than people or two people, or do you think they're a better friend to you?
Um, and that goes back to what I was saying. There's certain people that I'm a better friend than they are to me, and some people are better friends to me than I am to them. Um, I can say sometimes I could be ignorant to certain, relationships, take advantage of them, not purposely, but, and I'm not going to say shit happens, just sometimes, I could be on my bullshit. Uh, um, and, I'm gonna be straight up because, I know a couple people could look me in my face and be like, yo, you on that bullshit,
Right.
um, I was a good friend to you, a good, lover to you, girlfriend, whatever the case may be. And, I ain't do nothing wrong to you and you did this to me and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, damn, yeah, I did that. I messed up. And then, if that's a relationship or friendship or whatever the case may be that can stand through that, you know, I can make up for that in my own way. I can make up for that in a way that's, satisfying to you to where I can redeem my friendship with you. But,
Right.
for the most part, to a lot of people, I'm a better friend to them than they are to me. Because one thing about me, and I know a lot of people talk a lot of crazy shit about me or whatever the case may be, which I don't give a damn.
Right.
The one thing that I can say, a lot of people, uh, I can consider myself a friend to them because no matter what they're dealing with or going through, whatever, it's a lot of things that, they come to me and as a good friend, I'm gonna hold that like in the vault. But they don't give that same mutual thing. And, that kind of just blows my mind sometimes.
I feel you. Um, would I say I'm a better friend than some of my friends are to me? To some of my friends, I'll be honest. I'll be completely and totally real with you about that. I think with my friends, because all of them are so spread out, across the country and shit,
Mm-hmm.
is we good. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It's kind of like me and you. We live so far apart from each other, but it's like when we together, nigga, it's like we never parted. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
But I do have some female friends that I probably could have been a better friend to.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say that is because I'm a Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not with that bullshit, bro. And some female friends, I they with that drama. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
on
Right.
me now. I need it.
So
Give
when
it to me.
they come up with that drama like that, I'm like, the first two or three times I got you.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see that there's a pattern of you, choosing these niggas that ain't about shit, and then
Mm-hmm.
you want me to come and, you know, be there with you while you going through these struggles with these niggas, I'm not gonna keep doing that for you. I'm not. So if you want to call me a bad friend for choosing not to partake in your BS, you got me on that one. I'll take that shot.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to be the best friend that I can to all my friends. And I don't have a whole lot of friends like that.
Yeah.
There's niggas I know, and then there's niggas I fuck with. So
No.
if I fuck with you, we down like four flat tires. If I know you, holler at me and I'll see what I can do. But I'm
Yeah.
not gonna go out my way to, screw myself over because of your situation. I'm just not gonna do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing about that is, um, I can't stand for, and this mostly happens with dudes. I can't stand for a dude to be like, oh yeah, you my brother, you my this, you my that, blah blah blah, and you talking about me behind my back or whatever the case may be, whatever you're doing, and I don't address it to you because it's coming to me from a third party. So it's like, if it's coming to me from a third party and I keep hearing it, but I'm also seeing how you're acting, it's like, all right, it is what it is. But at the same time, if somebody run back to you and say, oh yeah, well, he this and he that, don't come up in my face talking that nonsense, because you've already violated that whole friendship, you my brother thing, by talking crazy about me when I ain't never said nothing about you.
Right.
Now, and you can't get mad at me and come at me sideways because somebody said something to you when, homie, you've been talking about me for months. For months. Or even years you've been talking crazy about me, and I ain't never said nothing about you or whatever the case may be. I ain't never wronged you or whatever the case may be. Like, and what burns me up with that is I could know that you did mad dirt, and you might be in a relationship, married, or a business deal or whatever the case may be. Right. And you've done mad dirt and been talking about me, and I ain't said nothing about you to cause that. And then when I talk about you and express my displeasure with you, now you want to circle back around the horn and come back and be talking about, man, I heard you said blah blah blah. And I swear it takes everything in me to bite my tongue to not say anything, because it's like, if I say something to you, I know you're gonna lie to me. It's like,
right, you already know what the deal is.
I rode merry-go-rounds a long time ago. I'm not trying to get on a merry-go-round with you about, this nonsense that could have been prevented by you sticking to your word of calling me your brother or whatever the case may be. And yeah, stuff like that. It blows my entire mind. And that was part 2 of Obligations and Expectations. I hope you enjoyed it so far. Stay tuned, because part 3 is right on the way.